Have you ever experienced fun going into an arcade, carnival or amusement park? I remember going into arcades where I'd spend £20 worth of 2p's on something that was only worth about £1. I have a bag of toys I've won from these machines over the years. I do not want to know how much was spent on winning these, but you know what, I got a lot of enjoyment out of those times and memories, and that's what matters, even though I'll never get that money back. Don't get me wrong, I still really enjoy going into these places. It's almost like stepping into another world, a world full of upbeat songs that repeat hours on end, and toys that beckon you to release them from their prisons. What's nostalgic personally, specifically to me, is the thought of going to the arcades when the sun is starting to set and you can hear the jingle of coins. A few places, machines and prizes can look a tad creepier than others, so I avoided those. Sometimes you'd get lines and lines of tickets out of a machine. You felt like you had hit the big jackpot at 10 years of age, but most of the time you'd get nothing. But the addicting thing was putting those coins into the machines and trying to win. Gaming is known for its addictive qualities. But anyway, I mainly had experience with these kind of arcades, as my stomach still can't to this day really handle amusement park rides that much. And I never really experienced huge fairs or carnivals. On the odd occasion I'd experience a smaller fair. They of course still have their charm. I actually preferred as a kid drawing and creating my own theme parks. I used to use Microsoft PowerPoint or lovely old plain paper before inevitably I turned to Roller Coaster Tycoon and other games instead. It's no wonder I loved experiencing these places in video games, or even just seeing them in films and cartoons. It's, very close to a magical experience. I was trying to finish the end of VD events, and there was this carnival section that came to my attention that a lot of games have amusement parks, carnivals as settings, or arcade machines to signify a mini game or a place to walk into. I just had this urge to make a video on this topic basically, so we'll have a little explore of that. But first, here's the section where I talk about what I've recently played, a part of the video where I explain what I played recently. It was definitely a tad slow before, so now I have changed this to recently played in 60 seconds. I'm ready if you are, so let's go. Recently, I have been chaotically going back and forth between a lot of things as usual. No, really, don't look at my Steam or PSN, it is absolute chaos. I had been replaying Dragon Age Origins, which is my favourite series by the way, and I also started up Watch Dogs for the first time, which has been really fun so far. I like the scanning of all the people you can do in the street and finding out that they like shrimp or shoplifting or something. Also, on the trip I went on recently, I saw Poets of the Fall live, woo, which was absolutely amazing, and it means I have to replay Alan Wake and play the recently released Alan Wake 2 soon. If you didn't know, the band has a partnership with Remedy Entertainment and have made songs for the two games plus Max Payne and Control. It's very, very awesome, I love it. But on that trip I was playing a lot of PSP on the train, a bit of Little Big Planet, and I also bought Tokobot. You have all of these cute little Tokobots following you and use them together to fight or climb or spin in the circle, and I just love this cover. I strive to have fun. Speaking of fun, my partner and I were also playing Professor Layton and the Curious Village, working on the puzzles together. With our combined brain cells we did okay. Lastly, I also played Toonstruck, which is a point and click with amazing animations and Christopher Lloyd, but that is going to be the game that I use to transition into arcade territory. As I was playing Toonstruck, it struck me. Arcades are cool. Arcades in games are cool. Amusement parks and carnivals are pretty cool too, but I'll get there. I sat there trying to remember all of the levels in games that have arcades in them, and it wasn't that easy. Sometimes it's just a normal part of the city, sometimes it presents you with a mini game, and sometimes it's just to pass the time. I feel like for the past few weeks I've been super on edge, and any time an arcade machine pops up I shout, "Arcade machine!" and point at it. I was playing Poker Night at the inventory, don't ask me why, and I saw a machine in the background. I just noted it down immediately. This is what my life has come to. So before we go more into the games, what is an amusement arcade? It's a place where people play arcade games for the most part. There are so many games to choose from, and they vary from, arcade cabinets, pinball machines, or merchandisers, which are like the claw machines and stuff. Or of course, in some of them you can gamble as well, but beware everyone, gambling is addictive. The origins of arcades come from penny arcades, which were venues with coin-operated devices. The term starting to come into use around 1905, I think. I have been to a museum before that has a lot of these penny machines, and they're very interesting. It's kind of fascinating, really. Entertainment, Back to Toonstruck, it shows you the arcade kind of through the perspective of an arcade machine. It's very creative framing. You can see the joystick in the bottom left. Hello. You can look at the bears, and then you go up against the octopus, and he's a bit grumpy, but it's okay because you kick his butt at this arcade game, and then he gives you a gold chain, which at the point of recording this, I still haven't quite figured out what to do with it. There's a strength machine here too, you know, that game where you swing a hammer a bunch. Toonstruck is exceedingly colourful and vivid. It's like they really threw some paint around and had fun, although there's no guessing as to how far to the left this place goes. This is a stark contrast to the absolutely ginormous building in Lollipop Chainsaw. I've played Lollipop Chainsaw a few times, and the fun centre level is the definition of fun. In this case, it's the local arcade in the game's town, San Romero, where all the kids hang out after school.
Where all the kids from San Romero hang out after school.
These giant neon lights and the giant disco ball might be a tad more extravagant than your average small town game arcade, but there are still a huge range of machines to pick from, such as Galaxy, Surf Trip, Judo Master, Aeroplane. Which would you choose? It'd be so hard to choose. High ceilings, nice tall plants, shiny floors, space. Spacious space. This place feels very premium to me. I relate to the I want to play games 24/7 zombie more than any person ever.
I don't
think I've ever seen an arcade with more than one floor, let alone the hundreds this one must have. I was thinking, wow, this arcade is quiet. Where are all the people? Then I remembered, oh yeah, zombie outbreak and all that. I remember smaller places, ones where if you removed all of the machines and games, it would just be a dingy room with a faded 80s carpet. Talking about carpets, look at the colours of this one, the mustard and ketchup. The arcade machines in Duke Nukem Forever are, well, all about Duke Nukem. There's not a whole load of variety here, I mean, just look at that carpet. You can shoot a few hoops too, and a few rats. It's definitely a new experience though, hiding under the pinball tables. Honestly, at that height I would be checking all of the machines for loose money. Similar to most likely a lot of people, one of my favourite arcadey places in a game is in fact the Gold Saucer from Final Fantasy VII. I wanted to showcase the rooms in the Wonder Square. I just love seeing an arcade with pre-rendered graphics like this. That Super Dunk machine looks really fun, the G-Bike machine looks really fun, the arm wrestling sounds scary but also looks fairly fun. Basketball arcade games are always super fun to me. I used to play a few sports in school. My aim isn't awful, but I always go into these, arcade basketball hoop games thinking I can smash high scores. I end up just making my arms ache from trying too hard. The Gold Saucer looks very grand, but the arcade in the point-and-click game, the Feeble Files, gives me more of that sense of familiarity. I don't know if that's helped by the fact that the game is British, but yeah, that could definitely be a reason. You win tokens, which is nice. We all love a round token. A nice round token. I really like the 90s dialogue, like the dude absolutely cannot control his excitement over the rendered graphics.
It's totally awesome, man! Check out these rendered pixels! Blast, blast, kapow!
You get permission to ride this futuristic looking machine. Well, hey. Wow, it's all very exciting.
Blast, blast, kapow!
The crane game is particularly realistic, especially when you get a bit frustrated when you are so close to securing that plastic toy.
I cannot believe it!
Claw machines can be a pain, can't they? Sorry, claw machine. They really entice you as they're all lined up along the outside of the amusement arcades, soft toys from the latest animated movies scattered around inside, eager for a new home. Then the crane makes you lose all hope by being very bad at doing what it's meant to do, which is grabbing things. I feel like I kind of hold a bit of a grudge. As we all know, whether they're rigged or not, arcade games can be notoriously difficult. But there's something about the music and lights that really makes you feel like having at least one try. I found the game Catherine fairly difficult, so it was always a nice treat to try out the Rapunzel arcade machine, and fail at that too. You can drunkenly stumble over and play, and I will point out the lovely realistic details on either side of the screen, like with the frayed corners and scratches. I like it when there's this kind of detail put into stuff like this, so thumbs up for that. I personally am a fan of Japanese games, and I really love the style of arcades in them as well, but there's the game that you really can't leave out of a video like this, and that is drum roll, please. Shenmue. When I first played Shenmue earlier this year, I realised that there is so much fun in having games within a game, and these toy capsules. Everyone loves these toy capsules.
Thanks.
I love the small place this particular arcade was in. It feels very cozy. There are plants in this one as well. I hope they're looked after. Excite QTE2 QTE title, that's hard to say. Darts 7, Hang On, Space Harrier. Side note, if you want to see the sequel, hop on over to the House of the Dead Overkill and you can see Space Harrier 2 there. Jumping from Shenmue to Yakuza now. I really like the realistic feeling of these arcades. It kind of feels like these people actually have a life. I don't know how else to word it, but it feels like these people actually have a life outside of the arcade. I love the atmosphere, like it's based off a real place, which, well, it is. Club Sega. It's actually pretty insane when you think about it, how you can just play a game within a game. Reminds me of, like, you know, playing Crash Bandicoot and Uncharted 4 and stuff like that. Another example is from the devs Remedy Entertainment, where you can find their MS-DOS game called Death Rally in their game Alan Wake's American Nightmare. Mind is blown. I would also like to mention a sillier arcade. I think Octodad is a very strong contender here. It's such a fun level. I love this level. And the slide. You can't forget the slide. You have to smoothly win 6 or 7 prizes for your wife from the machines in this room in the aquarium. Do aquariums tend to have arcades? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. There's the return of the basketball dunk machine and the claw machine, but also there are some other popular ones such as air hockey and whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole is a good one for anger, isn't it? It's probably the machine I played the least. I guess maybe I wasn't angry enough. In summary, there are actually a handful of arcades that are the location of a zombie infestation. I mean, why is that? I guess zombies can't miss out on all the fun, can they? Do you remember that Wii game that was absolutely everywhere on TV and in the shops, and maybe most families with the Wii probably owned one? It's amazing that in this current day you can experience a carnival and all of the carnival games from the comfort of your own house. No need to exert any energy. You can play all of these games via a controller. You can solve mysteries at carnivals, search for objects in carnivals, and skate around in a carnival. The carnival which you can skateboard around in is none other than Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. The loading screen is fairly creepy from the get-go. The ride's looking horrifying and grey. But as you skate around, you realise it's not that bad. I mean, you can grind on the top of the portable toilets for a start. There are a lot of rides you skate past or skate on, and despite the park feeling fairly empty, there are still a handful of people challenging you. You get to do tricks whilst ringing the strength game bell, grind the 6 souvenir photo spots, which is hilarious. Just look at these photos. Unless you're really, really good at skateboarding and don't mind risking getting into trouble, I think this is probably the only way you can really experience skateboarding on top of rides like this. This is certainly one of the unique ways of experiencing a carnival, but in the real world, carnivals are annual festivals that take place in many different ways in various countries. Other countries' carnivals are definitely a lot different to the carnivals I experienced in my small British town. But yeah, carnivals are temporary, which is what makes them different from, you know, amusement parks. If you really think about it though, carnivals are prime places for evil and all things creepy, you know, in design. Sometimes they're completely abandoned and feel more sad in contrast, since these places are meant to be full of happiness and joy. Some that are still in business though often have shows or rides of a creepy nature. I really like the style of the scarier carnivals, such as a light gun shooter arcade game called Carnival from 1998, which is exactly what it says on the box. An evil carnival. An evil Carnival. There's a haunted house level, rickety town level, freak show level, and the big top. I can imagine this scaring a lot of kids back in the day. This arcade flyer is terrifying on its own, and I think in general this game has had a few influences on carnival levels since its release, which is awesome. Here's a fact for you, the carnival in Biiiig is really cool. It might be a teeny bit creepy in places, but I love cycling and skateboarding up to it in the games clear afternoon or evening and seeing the coaster and the Ferris wheel come into view, kind of like how you can in GTA as well. Honestly, the amount of decoration does make this feel pretty cozy. I know I just said it was creepy, but cozy and creepy. Buying your ticket and walking around in the mission holding hands with your date. The lights and the whole atmosphere is a joy, like I genuinely want to go there. And all in all, it's just some realistic teenager carnival fun. There are rides which you can go on too, and that's Immersion. Guess what? Detective Barbie went to a carnival too. And I'm not really surprised, as Barbie has been absolutely everywhere at this point. This carnival has a much happier colour scheme compared to the previously mentioned Carnival. We need to help Barbie solve the mystery of the carnival caper, but really I'm just distracted by that food sign over there. What I love about the graphics of this game is that apart from the mouths and the eyebrows, there is mannequin-like movement in these people, which I guess makes sense since they are, dolls. You know what, don't listen to me.
Lady, I'm Bert Franklin. I own this carnival. Can I help you?
Yes, can you go away? Something that made me laugh is that Barbie is absolutely ecstatic to be on this slide.
This slide is wild.
From what I understand, Ken and the charity money is missing. Oh no. And also, is it just me or does this hand look tiny? As funny as this is, I absolutely love this and Barbie. These games are a staple in 90s PC gaming. But just look at the lights on that Ferris wheel. Along with this weird clown dude, there's so much here. Balloon animals, magic, burgers, bumper cars, hearts, cute yellow flowers, and suspects. All in all, this is probably the most surreal looking carnival. Like, I feel like there's a lot to digest here. I diligently was using Google search and typed in carnival games on the PS3 and found this, Carnival Island, which I had never heard of, but it has carnival in the title, so I thought it must be good for this video, right? Plus it has a panda, so you can't go wrong. Played exclusively with the PS3 Move controller, this was a downloadable title. Watching a few videos on this was exciting to say the least. It seems like it has a few of the common Carnival games. I never had a PlayStation Move. I clearly was missing out. I never owned the Carnival Games game either, so it's all very sad really. I don't know what I prefer, creepy or colourful carnivals. I really like the atmosphere of both, to be honest. The game Glover is quite colourful. It plonks you down onto some very, very green, saturated green grass and then you roll around a bit. It's definitely not the most realistic carnival out there, but I feel like I would like it as it seems quite quiet. If you go into this with an open mind, it seems very cute and nostalgic. The way this boss laughs as well, I feel it deep in my soul. Sometimes all you need for a fair or carnival is just a lot of bright fun colours and music and movement, like dancing or rolling around like a ball. So obviously not every game has you rolling around like a ball. Take for example hidden object games. My interest in hidden object games sparked a couple of years ago, and there are a few that take place in carnivals and parks, which is pretty cool. Despite sometimes having slightly bizarre character animations, I think the environments more than make up for it. It feels like the creators of these games pick an atmosphere and then really stick to it. I really enjoyed just looking around at all the details and solving the puzzles and stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if I've missed some hidden object games with this theme. Point and click games included, like I know there's Monkey Island 2 for example. What came up a lot when searching for carnivals was Banjo-Tooie's Witchy World. I think it's great when the stalls look like the items they're selling, like this fries place. There's a spooky area for all of your spooky needs. You turn into this van and drive around. Actually, it's kind of adorable. You can jump and hit the button on the strength test machine, which, ooh, that's a bit of a nod to earlier in the video. And then you smash the bell into pieces. All in all, very fun time, 10 out of 10 would jump off this diving board again. And to finish up the carnival section, Left 4 Dead 2 has a carnival area as well, and that just proves my point that zombies just want to have fun. There are toilets here, yay for that. It's hard to ignore. There are a lot of abandoned tents and games for obvious reasons. So even though it's called Dark Carnival, the place sign says Amusement Parks, so either I'm really misunderstanding something or yeah, I think it's just a bit confusing, I don't know. Which is it? Can it be both? But yeah, I admit sometimes I felt like I got a bit confused between what was a theme park versus what was a carnival, and especially in some games. I was looking at a lot, okay? It's a lot of information to take in. I apologise if some got a bit mixed up there. But nevertheless, anyway, we must fight on, continue on, and here is the amusement park section for your amusement. Enjoy! Amusement parks. The more I looked for amusement parks and games, the more I found. I just kept stumbling upon more and more and more, and I guess that's a good problem to have. Amusement parks have a weird place in my heart. As mentioned earlier in this video, I don't have lots of experience going to them, but I have love for looking at them, creating my own, or exploring them virtually in some way. Big exciting amusement parks are a joy to experience in many games, or maybe they're just creepy. Riding on some rides is scary enough, but other times throwing enemies into the mix really boosts that I'm scared feeling. Take for example Bleed. B-movie horror film producer Michael Reynolds offers $1 million to anyone who can survive his terrifying movie-themed park, Bleed. If you want to experience a weird park which is a literal death trap, then this place is for you. Bleed is a game that I've always wanted to play and look into, but it's a very difficult game to get hold of. This game really throws you in after the amazingly acted intro cutscene.
Sure thing, I'm with ya. Whoa, whoa.
Your friends who went to this spooky looking place have gone missing, so of course you stroll through the gates after picking up this very, very ominous looking invitation that they dropped. The actual layout and idea of this game is really interesting, and having all of this with Dreamcast graphics is a dream come true, or a nightmare come true in this case. You kind of have these hubs to explore, and you can go into the theatres with gruesome films from Michael Reynolds himself. Yeah, I really want to play this game in full at some point. It's exactly that wacky, surreal, weird, bizarre retro video game aesthetic that I seek.
I can't wait to commune with the undead.
But moving on to something that is slightly more recent than that, I was absolutely astounded to find this level in DMC Devil May Cry, because I was researching for days before I found this, and this is awesome, and I luckily already had the game so I downloaded it, and it was so fun. It definitely goes into the stylistic category. I was just trying to stop and take in everything whilst recording, which was probably a bad idea. I love how the lights are so vibrant, even though there's this, red mist layering the whole area. Everything's so sparkly, and there's a lot of detail with all of these dolls and things that can kill you. It's cool how it phases between this world and the real world, and the Ferris wheel just goes for a run and it's just chaos. Another game I started playing and love because of this video is Sunset Overdrive. The whole game is hyper colourful and actiony, and the way you can jump and zip around is so unique and amazing, and you can pick out the wildest outfits, so the game gets a bonus heart from me for that. When it comes to the amusement park area though, it was kind of hilarious trying to get the footage, since it's not really an area without evil enemies, so I was just running around trying to get nice shots whilst getting shot. But there's so much here to there's so much here to look at as well, and I think that's my favourite kind of amusement park in a game. Stalls, coasters, big rides, food, balloons, and explosions. It's a game I've been meaning to play for like 10 years or something, so I'm really happy I finally got it. Thank you, Steam sales. I was only a few hours in when I went on my own personal quest to find the amusement park on the map, so I hope you're grateful. Klonoa 2's Joyland theme park is very joyful indeed. Just look at how bright this is. The music in this part fits perfectly. You start off by throwing enemies into eggs at the back, which is a cool way to have interactions with the amusement park environment. There are some very cool structures and circus tents and lights, which replicates the enjoyable atmosphere that you would get going to a park like this yourself. You get to run in front of all of these people and get in their way as they cheer this thing balancing on a big ball. There's also a spooky section, which would have worked well for my previous video, but you know what, that's completely fine. But yeah, I've never played Klonoa actually, so that's one for the list. Back to zombies! Killing Floor 1 and 2 both have these amusement parks / carnivals that are well full of zombies and zombie-like things to shoot and destroy. Look at these lights and rides and stalls, it's all so jazzed up, it's awesome. I'm not sure if there's much concept art for this area, but I would love to see it. I would have showed footage from the second game, but it was 100 gigabytes and I don't have 100 gigabytes to spare. I started up the first one though, and I admit the screen was really dark when I was playing, so I couldn't see much. I ran around trying to look at all the details whilst running away and doing some headshots when I could, because I'm just that good, I feel like minus all of the scary monsters, this place would be entertaining to explore, and from screenshots, Killing Floor 2 looks like it has a really extravagant park as well. Once I get the free 100 gigabytes, I'll let you know. Amusement parks are often places you would go with your friends or family, and it's good to have an option to play some of these areas like co-op. Oh, that reminds me, there's also, just thinking on the spot here, but there's also the Call of Duty one. I forget which Call of Duty it is, but I actually really like the zombies that has an amusement park. It also reminds me of this level in the game called Painkiller, where the park, it's a bit more dark in nature and the noises are certainly chaotic in nature. There's again this very common circusy themed music with that certain sound of instrument that I'm not actually sure what it is. I'd love to see enemies with toys they've won or balloon hats or something. It's less let's walk around and have a fun time and more let's shoot everything in sight. I was just thinking, Carousels are creepy, aren't they? Just the way they're painted and the music and how they make you really dizzy. Well, make me really dizzy. A game which showcases a lovely, lovely carousel is Nancy Drew, the Haunted Carousel. Take a spin with danger to unravel the mystery of a ghostly merry-go-round. Nancy Drew is a series of games where you play as Nancy, surprise, and solve mysteries, and one happens to be in this amusement park. This one has a spooky carousel too, haunted apparently. For this one, though, the description speaks for itself. You, as Nancy Drew, have just entered a tightening circle of fear and crime as you explore a seaside amusement park that's swirling with secrets. Definitely better writing than me. Antique carousel horse has been stolen. Now late at night, the merry-go-round takes off. The merry-go-round takes off on bizarre riderless journeys to... well, I am on the edge of my seat. No, seriously, I want to play this one. And another carousel is in none other than Silent Hill 3. Ooh, spooky. As you slowly walk into the entrance of Lakeside Theme Park, we know we're in for a full time of joy. There's a lot less music this time. The level focuses more on spooky ooh sounds and the sound of footsteps, which is probably what you would hear if you were actually in this place alone. Do you know what's really similar to Silent Hill? Mario! No, I'm kidding. Super Mario Sunshine has this very bright amusement park in contrast. It's very summery. This place definitely gave my eyes a nice rest after, you know, intaking darkness for hours. You could definitely put all of these games on the list of least to most inviting. Tony Hawk makes a return as well, yippee! Tony Hawk's Project 8 was a weird game that I never really got into as a kid, but I did beat it a few years ago as an adult. This level's quite full, and it has a big ship in the distance, a dragon, a castle, and this beaver guy.
I got a job at the fun park! Woohoo!
But yeah, I remember trying to ride some coasters in games when I was a kid and still felt a bit queasy. I'm weak, I'm still weak. Over the Hedge has a coaster quest, which is to get all the way to the end of the coaster, and it's spiced up with side quests such as defeat the badger and find all 3 coolers. I do like how when you're walking along the tracks you can see a very, very wonderful view of the city. You know, I wouldn't be sad if this was a view from my Airbnb. I can imagine sitting on the tracks very romantically looking at the stars, though I would get a bit self-conscious of people looking through the windows. They must be very confused at this point, to be honest, looking at these animals just running around. We are sadly coming to the end of the video, but we still have time for a few more mentions. Fragile Dreams is a game that I longingly stare at in game stores and on eBay, but alas, it is much, much money. But the game has a very mystical post-apocalyptic setting and has a curious, desolate amusement park area. The atmosphere is a bit unsettling, but this robot makes me happy. I love Epic Mickey for a similar kind of reason. It's very unique with its setting, but it's also kind of unsettling. I love the designs of this game. It has elements of amusement parks and stuff dotted like throughout the whole series. I always looked around and took in everything here. It's so well put together, in my opinion. I love this place. Also, can I just say how much I love Kingdom Hearts? Thank you for listening. I remember feeling that kind of magical, childlike wonder when I first found the series, and that magical feeling can also describe this particular level in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. This is Prankster's Paradise, and it certainly looks like a paradise. Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio are here, yay. I think in general the whole Kingdom Hearts series has that like otherworldly, magical feeling to it. You know, I love that when you run around this park it's dark. Amusement parks have such a different vibe when it's the evening. There's so much here that makes me happy. The tunnel is so sparkly, the enemies even fit in well, and these eyes follow you. It's a lot of fun. Even though I've focused on older games, there are still a lot of recent releases that have arcades, carnivals and amusement parks as settings. So that is the end of this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I wasn't really sure whether to do this idea for a video, but in the end it was calling to me, so I just went ahead and started creating it because that's what I do. I just do what my brain tells me to do. It was a lot of fun though. I'm really looking forward to my next video, so please remember to subscribe, especially if you made it this far, and to take a look at my Patreon if you want. And that's all I really have to say. Make sure you enjoy any arcades, carnivals, fairs, Christmas markets, fairs that are upcoming, and stay healthy. See you in the next video. Bye!